It is powerful when a victim is finally set free from the abuse, but the story they have still remains. The consequences of abuse will follow them forever, through the disclosure, through the court process, and well into their future life. When an innocent child is abused, we make sure their voice is heard. When you've suffered at the hands of a criminal, we bring you justice. When something terrible happens to a victim, we help them close that chapter of their life. Hi, my name is Kimberly DeGonia. I'm a Deputy District Attorney here in the Riverside County District Attorney's Office. I was one of the prosecutors on the Turpin case.
A Deputy District Attorney is someone who carries out the prosecution duties of a misdemeanor or felony court case under the supervision of the District Attorney. We meet with victims, prepare their cases, research the law, communicate constantly with members of law enforcement, and stand up in court against criminals who have wronged our society to bring them to justice. Hi, my name is Kevin Beecham. I'm a Deputy District Attorney with the Riverside County District Attorney's Office. I was one of the prosecutors on the Turpin case.
A few days ago, I was working on the Turpin case and I was listening to recordings and reading the police reports. And I took a lunch break and I walked over to the local sandwich shop and I began looking at the menu. I had this overwhelming sense of guilt because I could choose whatever I wanted off that menu. It may seem so small and insignificant, but really it's indicative of trauma and abuse that these 13 children had to endure.
You may not realize how strong these victims really were. And I didn't really understand that until I received this case and really reflected upon my own childhood. When I was growing up, I was able to play outside. I had friends, I played sports, I ate pretty much what I wanted to. I went to school, learned how to drive a car. But these were all things that I took for granted that these victims never had.
The life that the Turpin children lived was difficult. And meeting with these kids multiple times, week after week, showed us the resilience and the hope that these kids have for the future.
More than any other case, we had to spend more time meeting with the victims. Initially, this was very difficult, as when we met with them, we could only use small words and basic concepts. However, as we got to know them and we met with them more and more, we learned a lot, as we had to start from scratch with victims who were deprived from human contact. Ultimately, we were able to build a relationship of trust, which allowed us to prepare them for interviews in court and the successful prosecution of the case.
The media has presented facts and shown photos, but it's even worse than publicized. And despite how overwhelmingly obvious it is as to what needed to happen, we had to overcome countless obstacles that surfaced in dealing with such a heavy matter. See, after the 13 children were removed from their home, about a dozen different organizations and nearly 50 different people had an active participation in the daily routine for the children. In terms of what we do as prosecutors, we couldn't just do the legal work. We had to work hard with the other organizations to ensure a future for these victims. The last thing that will go through my mind at the end of the day, on that last day of this case, is how happy I am and glad that the kids don't have to testify. How privileged and honored I feel to be part of the team that closed this chapter of abuse for the Turpin children, all 13 of them.
I will finally rest easy knowing that the Turpin children are living free while their parents are serving 25 to life prison sentences.